Hey there, Synth Drones. Today we're going to be talking about synth companies. Are they making marketing mistakes big time? I'm Pure Ambient Drone, and this is my channel where I vlog about synthesizers. Hit the subscribe button and tap that bell to keep up with all of my synth adventures, and dig deeper into my synth adventures at patreon.com/Pure Ambient Drone, where I include a lot of stuff I don't put on this channel, along with free music tracks. Okay, so synth companies, are they heading in the wrong direction in your opinion? Let me give you some examples. Recently, we got the announcement that Korg is coming out with the Mini-Log XD. Now, they already have the Mono-Log, the Mini-Log, and the Pro-Log. And so they just added another log on the fire, if you will. Arteria has released a synthesizer called the Freak, and from what I understand, it is the first in the line of their Freak synthesizers. And what I am seeing here is a trend of synthesizer companies that have labeled their synthesizers, and it seems like what they're doing is they're rebuilding the same synthesizer and adding and subtracting to the original model. So let me clarify what I mean by this. You had the Mini-Log that came out by Korg, okay? And that was their first of their log series. And then you had the Mono-Log, which really is a Mini-Log in many respects, with some features added and some features subtracted. Then they came out with the Pro-Log, which was kind of like a Mini-Log on steroids, if you will. Again, adding stuff, and I don't know if they took anything away, but they certainly did add a lot of features to it. 8 and or 16 voices is just one of the things that they added. And then they come out with the XD, which is an analog synthesizer married up with a digital synthesizer. And one of the complaints that I've been hearing and reading about is that if you already own one of the log synthesizers, you're not really inclined to want to go spend any more money on the series. I think that could be a mistake. Now, let me put this into perspective for you. The same person who owns a Mini-Log may not buy a Mini-Log XD. They may not see the value in the upgrade for the money. But that same consumer might buy a Korg Volca, which by the way, I think the Korg Volcas have a lot to offer, especially in the earlier models. They were very diverse. They were very different from one another. You have the Volca FM, and then you have the Volca Sample, two different worlds there, the Volca Beats, the Volca Bass, and then the Volca Keys. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of percussion coming out, like the Volca Kick, and then the Volca Drum, and now the Volca Modular, if you will. Now, the Volca series seems to be doing really good, but there's not a lot of excitement about the last two releases from them, and I don't know if that's consumer fatigue or just not enough variety. But getting back to the Mini-Logs, the biggest complaint, like I said, is a lot of people don't want to upgrade or downgrade. They just kind of want to keep the model that they have. Is this going to be the same mistake that Arteria makes? Are they going to make a line of Freak synthesizers and then subtract and add to and change features, and basically you're getting the same synthesizer in a different package? And if that's the case, they may discover that a lot of people are a one-time consumer of their line. Now, I think that the Volcas did it great in the beginning. I think they might be steering off a little bit from their course with their last two releases. But we'll have to wait and see. And I'm going to be fair about it and tell you I haven't had my hands on the two latest releases from Volca. I thought that the FM was a great addition to the Volca family. I think it's one of the most unique ones. I was a little put off by its limited voice capabilities, and so I didn't hang on to it very long because I had synthesizers already here that could do everything that that could do. With that being said, I understand that DSI, Dave Smith Instruments, who is now Sequential, I do understand that they like to take their profit line and use that as a marketing ploy. Everybody wants a profit, right? But they're doing it in such a way that their machines are so unique from one another that you really can't call one Prophet the other Prophet. Does that make kind of sense? Like, I own the Prophet 6, and it's nothing like the Prophet 12. And the Prophet 12 is nothing like the Prophet 8, which is nothing like the Prophet 6, and it goes on and on and on. So I think Dave Smith brings enough to the table with his machines that he's not really taking the same box and re-engineering it. I believe Dave Smith is actually taking his synthesis to a whole new world each time he releases a Prophet. For instance, the Prophet X is like no other synthesizer out there in its class. And I know because I own one and I haven't seen anything like this before. And again, you know, I own the Poly Evolver, which is nothing like the Prophet X. So Dave Smith is making a very, very good marketing plan that's unfolding to the consumer that gives them value and gives them uniqueness, so that if you own enough Dave Smith instruments or Sequential, however you prefer, if you own enough of them, you're still going to have complete variety in your synth studio. But can we say that about the Korg Mini-Log line of synthesizers? Well, I wouldn't call them the Mini-Log, I'd call them the Log series, if you will. Can we say that truly about that? Could you fill your studio up with the Korg line of logs and feel that you've got enough uniqueness there to justify the money that you spent on said studio setup? So we're going to have to wait for Arturia to come out with more freaks. That just sounds strange, guys. In order to make a call on whether or not they're going to be doing the same thing. Now, like I said, I believe with the line of the Prophet synthesizers, I believe it works for them because they're built from the ground up. That's one of Dave Smith's big selling points, and some of the things that he likes to stress. One of the things he likes to stress is that he takes his boxes from the ground up. Now, there is one exception, and that's the Rev 2. He took the Prophet 8, and he added to that. And if you own a Prophet 8, would you want to get a Rev 2? You see the question there? If you own a Prophet 8, would you want to buy a Rev 2? If I got to play with the two machines in the store, side by side, and I owned a Prophet 8 already at home, I don't think I could buy myself a Rev 2. I think I would take the extra money and invest it in some outboard effects, if that's what I wanted, and I would be happy with the rest of what the Prophet 8 had to offer and ignore the other benefits of the Rev 2. That's just my opinion, okay? I just don't think that it would justify upgrading. Now, I did have a Prophet 8 a long time ago, and it was the rack mount. And this is back when I was selling gear. Now I tell everybody, try to hang on to everything you got for as long as you can. But I did sell it, and I ended up regretting it. And so when I decided that I wanted it again, I went with the Rev 2. But I wouldn't have done that had I owned the Prophet 8 still. I would have just been satisfied with what I had. So my point is that I think that when companies repackage synthesizers and add to or subtract from, consumers who already own the product don't necessarily have enough incentive to go to the next level and spend the extra money unless they can unload their synthesizers that they already bought from that line. Now, herein lies the problem, okay? When you have a synthesizer or a piece of gear, and then there is an upgrade to it, it's harder to unload it for a good price. Now, Roland did the same thing with the TR8. They came out with the TR8S, and suddenly everybody wants to unload their TR8s so they can upgrade to the TR8S. And then you see the prices fall, okay, on the second-hand market because people don't want to buy a TR8. They want to buy a TR8S. So the price has to be right for them to go for the lower-end model, if you want to consider it the lower end, okay? Same thing with cell phones and computers. Nobody wants a third-generation cell phone. Nobody wants a third-generation computer. They want the latest and greatest. And I think that's the problem that we're heading into with synthesizers, is that they're getting into the territory of what cell phones are into. You use a cell phone for so long, and then a newer, better version of it comes out. It's the same phone it always was with added features, and if you want those added features, then you got to upgrade and pay the price. Is that where synth drones want to go in the future? Personally, I want innovation. I want the synth companies to come out and bring something new to the table and stop repackaging old technology. And I know that isn't the case every time, so please don't be dogmatic about what I said. But what I mean is that I want these synth companies to be innovative and come out with something that we can look at and hear and go, wow, this is different. This is innovative, like with the Prophet X. With that being said, I understand that these synth companies, they want to get a share of the home market. They want to lower their prices and keep their prices low to compete with other synth companies so that the home market can afford these synthesizers. And make no mistake, you know, people who are making millions of dollars with their money or with their music, they are buying these synthesizers. They are buying them up. I mean, you know, $299 for the Freak is a drop in the bucket to somebody who's making $100,000, $200,000, $1 million a year, whatever the number may be. And they're buying that stuff, whether or not they even think it's good or not. To them, that's probably $2.99, right? But they're buying them. I know they are, okay? The question is that if you're in a home studio and you're not making a whole lot of money, then should you be buying it? And if you do buy it, well, you just have to upgrade later down the road. Where I'm going with this whole video is this. Are the synth companies trying to work it out to where synth drones, you know, synth enthusiasts, are captured in a world where the next best thing is the thing you have to pay for if you want those features? You know, keep us on a hook and reel us in. I want more companies like Dave Smith. Are they expensive? Yes. But when you get a Dave Smith instrument or a sequential instrument in front of you, you have quality. You have innovation. You can just, wow. I mean, you can fall in love with these machines. They're beautiful, they're fantastically made, and you can tell that they're made with love. I believe that Mr. Smith actually loves what he does with synthesizers. In fact, to be doing this for as long as he has been, and to go through all the trials and tribulations that he's gone through and still be here, he must really love what he does. And I think that that's the synth manufacturers that synth drones respect and want to stay with. And, you know, don't forget that Dave Smith Instruments has come out with a line of synthesizers that's affordable as well in the past. They do have affordable synthesizers in their past. And they've, you know, in the last several years have moved up to the full-size keyboards, all right? And they're grabbing that market up there in the price range that runs around $2,000 to even $3,000 to $4,000. So they are a pristine machine. I believe they're worth the money because I buy them. And I think that when you get one in front of you, you don't have this really cheap piece of plastic that some synth companies are known to do. but you have a really nice machine that's innovative. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the subject about synth companies. What's your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and then check me out over at patreon.com/pureambientdrone. Love to see you guys over there. Until next time, keep calm and synth on.